And I welcome you today to CSC Talk Radio. It's my honor, my privilege. It's my privilege, my honor. Oh, it's something. I'm glad I'm here. My honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to be here today. It really is, even though I can't say it. Well, you know, we watched all the hearing, if that's what you want to call it. They kept calling it a hearing, and they say, well, it's really not a hearing. Well, it's really not a trial. It was a hearing to see if they had enough to go to trial. Isn't that what they do? Isn't that how that works? But lying is lying. And we watched this so-called hearing yesterday between Miss Ford and Judge Brett Kavanaugh. And I call him judge because he is a judge. He's just not a Supreme Court judge yet. And they're supposed to be taking a vote today, and I think they were supposed to start about the time I went on the air. So I'm not watching it. But the days leading up to the donkey and elephant circus yesterday was filled with shouting and lying and, yes, stupidity. Not only must she be heard, she must be believed. She must be believed. This is from Senator Hirono in Hawaii. And she was really adamant that the men must all just sit down and shut up. Well, Miss Hirono, I'm not a man, and I will not shut up. Women do not hold some golden wand that keeps them from lying. And I do not have to believe every statement of every woman any more than I have to believe every statement of every man. Truly empowered women have their own minds, and they don't need some screaming lunatic with an agenda telling them the right way to think and how to conclude. Lou Dobbs made the statement last night, I took a little offense to, that if you didn't have compassion for both Ford and Kavanaugh as they made their statements, you were heartless. Well, I don't believe that I'm heartless. And I haven't quite decided about Miss Ford. She is either out and out lying or extremely mentally unstable, or perhaps a bit of both. There were many discrepancies in her statements. There were none in Brett Kavanaugh's. She can't remember specifics. The only thing specific she can remember is it was Brett Kavanaugh that assaulted her, and Mark Judge. She doesn't remember the place. She doesn't remember the year, but she's 100% sure it was Brett. Kavanaugh and his calendars from years were, it's a little bit unusual to me because I'm a disorganized person. But he does this, and his father taught him to do this. So he has kept a calendar or a journal or a diary of sorts. Lots of people do that, and I admire them. I actually admire them for that through the years. And what a blessing it was that he did. And the so-called witnesses of Miss Ford, they denied her statements all the way around. Yet according to the nasty women like Hirono, I must believe her. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. She had too many discrepancies. She couldn't even remember just a month ago as to when she took her lie detector test. She claims she has a fear of flying, and that's one reason she didn't come to meet with the senators earlier. But she's been flying all over the place, taking trips. So that's not 100% true. The American people have been lied to so many times by these elected officials that it's hard to sift through their rhetoric, their trash, and even find one iota of truth anymore. But the evidence yesterday presented by Kavanaugh was real, and nothing but emotional statement from Miss Ford. She had no evidence. Everything that she presented as evidence had been knocked down. Everything. Her witnesses, everything. It just does not calculate to have been a crime. There was no truth in any of it. Again, she was emotional. She was either a great liar or a tremendously gifted actress. And hey, I've seen women who can pour it on when it's necessary, when it suits them. And it's hard for many, especially men, to watch a woman crying and making claims without some sympathy. On the other hand, Kavanaugh was a man with every reason to be angry, every reason to be defensive, every reason to be protective, every reason to be emotional. He had everything on the line. She had nothing to lose. Truthfully, she had nothing to lose. I doubt that he was a saint. None of us are, and in particularly during our teenage years. But here's a story about a woman. Should we have believed her? If you go to, well, where did I do with it? If you go to the scriptures, you will find that Joseph, who was the firstborn of the Hebrew heroine Rachel, he had every God-given advantage. He was handsome, intelligent, shrewd. He was a born leader. He also was God's special favor. He also, in my opinion, thought well of himself when he was young. When he was young, he did boast about being his father's favorite. Kind of set his siblings off a little bit. But he was a slave, and he was a slave because he made his brothers angry and they sold him. So, we are in the household of a rich Egyptian man, Potiphar. He owns many slaves. One of these is the Hebrew Joseph, who had been placed in control of Potiphar's large estate and the household. Potiphar's wife has no children and does not seem to love her husband. In short, are you listening, women? She had no purpose. Rich, bored, and idle, she became infatuated with Joseph. She tried to seduce Joseph, but he, sensibly, is having none of it. He refuses her advances and runs from the room. Furious, she takes her revenge by accusing him of attempted rape. Potiphar was in a predicament because he loved Joseph. He really liked Joseph. Joseph was a great guy. He was one of his best slaves. So should he believe Joseph or should he believe his wife? And Joseph went to prison for a crime he did not commit. Why? Because the woman lied. Should we have believed Potiphar's wife? They don't even give her name in Scripture. She's just Potiphar's wife. I looked up lying today. You know me. I'm always looking up stuff. I looked up lying. Quotes for lying. About lying. Honesty may not always pay, but lying always costs. I thought that was pretty profound. I believe that was by Jefferson, but I'm not 100% sure. Lying. We have been lied to. We've spent weeks and weeks over the confirmation process, which is now a donkey and elephant show, and Congress has been at their tricks. Spending, spending, spending. Too much government, too much power, too much lying. When are the American people going to get done with it? We need to throw somebody in prison, and it's the liars that need to go to prison. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. It is Free for All Friday. I know I didn't read the poem, but it is Free for All Friday, and Daniel will be calling in. 877-895-5410 is the number to call, and we will be right back.